tada speaker nga chu mambu chik tela dende shuyure ani chen number chama del tu chetang phel tu che shwai ani thambu nga chu format ni do che presentation ni yure te ni thambu che ani nga chu kind of panel discussion che del then panel discussion Q question and answer do che ni YouTube ka ten tu ne ago yosere sangudu ani thambu presentation de nga chu jule then seten lagi ani morang tada TDS bill gegen chigyor TDS bill gegen chigyor ani ti gegen tada jagan le ani lobjong country kanche ani chajing kare kare changur la ne mo presentation chi thongthong chi chiare ni cutting che ya seten la hello ke hoda this ke che hoda
okay then they some of the largest lay some lo ani ngara ming to la na tin sitting mira ani ngara to shi ta da TDSP na la ADS teacher adult day school teacher mira ta ngara to subject to la na ani angsi da physics de juni la ku ni chukchi chuni la angsi da physics la ko bra ta nge je education background to shi na ngara lopchong changma kya ni Christ University branch gore lodin lopchong chini the Bachelor of Science in Physics Maths Electronics 2014 la chire and then dj la ngara Master of Science in Mathematics ngaj major di maths in di Master of Science in Mathematics chi and dj la ngara gegen chair ji interest you di ngara ani Bachelor of Education nani longi nga Bachelor of Education di again Christ University la chire 2018 la ani around lopchong changma thunes and lopchong de changma thuen chan je la ani ngara lamsa hura lega chair ko chi ba ta thangbo do shina ngara Bangalore ra lopchong shidi gudi Bangalore ra pura longas pura gige chini labda mata ni la gige chini de ra so Bangalore la ngara Global City International School na ni so IB curriculum chik nalo lapta chik nalo la ni di long sumringa lega chir de re and dije la Nalanda Group International Public School na nya longis lega chi and dimase ngara Bachelor of Education mazuda longi rang chi digudi internship to chiura modi ni ngara again Bangalore la ya Mary Immaculate School na ne tawashiringa internship chi and teachable mase ngara social service nangbo chidi gudi ngara tawani kongse khadi ni volunteer to share de ba yu shukchambo yu gudi ni ngara phebal labja lagi ya yigi labja ju de ba de gudi ni ngara experience raj to ni ngara nima chinchu ni lobchong chigyo labja Center School for Tibetan CUP lan modela tawani ringa ya sinicho bu zula tawani kongse gudi so sinicho to board exam yu gudi kan zula ya yigi to angzi labja to chingis and this mase ani SOS TCB palakubi lege ya tawani ringa ya tawani kongse la ya yigi angzi do lamis ani shemba ngara Bachelor of Education chigi la ya ngara Bangalore la lopchong chigi la part time lega do ge chi ra part time lega di ya ge chi lega do part time lega di so Mary Gold la di Bangalore la and company chinchi chigi la kunzu gi tuition to service to tibora so onde la ngi longi ringa part time to hapta la ni mani sto yor on chi and tidu gu ngara pyukop kharas na like not just kya bu li la ba chesa sheba Canada ni bu hashir la ya konda online class ne UK ni ge bu hashir shi la ya and online class no to ya on de pyukop do ra so odi gu nga ta Vedic maths ne ma chi odi la ko so part time mai ko la na odi chi ra ani ngara do china 2023 la de la Canada le ra Canada ngo le di budi thangbo de le di budi ngara since like me ma chi da career change re nursing the do re la into do samsi to less ra ine yang ara gegen che de ko pem si yudi gudi ni gegen che de le gegen che na khandes yuna tabshi khan do shina time pa samtang de gudi ani Ontario College of Teacher application ni ya odi famous kitchen bush tons ra OCT license the Ontario Teacher College Ontario College of Teacher la the OCT license the governing body for teachers in Ontario do ra kunju ki teacher license do the mainly for permanent teacher, occasional teacher, and international educated teacher. So ngara do shina international educated teacher in the gudi ngara ladi license the PMC kitchen bush gigin chala. So labda TDSB labda ini re Ontario no labda kaini lega che chudu nga OCT la di inji minji kosha shimina lega ra PMC khapo dura so di ngara OCT ji application to the submit check start chimba so the application submit check your basic requirement to the gang ta to shina academic reports to records to kosha ta inji minji gegen chala losum ringa bachelor degree jikosh undergraduate degree yora the arts engineering science engineering ramina commerce engineering losum ringa jimji bachelor degree kosha and they must say teacher education transcript so lobjong bachelor of education diora ondi jimji kosha ondi bachelor of education dita ondi kya ga na college mada la ya bachelor of education duration di mada yuti gudi khashe la duration di 2 years re khashe 1 year to re ra so they do in a OCT apply challenge in bachelor of education the duration 2 years course so ngaro in a bachelor of education the longi chidi gudi takta requirement na takta chesha shemina ya delle ne ya OCT license lane conditional license ra ni ya and yo lokchong thebe chush ra so modi nga di nyokta do khancha mas khajne ngara ji gyala longi bachelor of education chidi gudi training the samay gudi and requirement takta sangyo shasra and next is certification or authorization to teach na dia on the certificate chikoshra ta gyaga do na ngonzo la ya authorization to teach na ni the certificate tingi do yoman medi gudi kunju kha accept chi do na gyaga applicant do la yora on the la ani bachelor of education degree chura on the accept chi do and then statement of professional standing on the chikosha statement of professional standing na di su ti do na ta ngado ina ngara gyaga la longa slo gyaga chi di gudi ngara ji previous last employer chura krongi the letter to chitosh but the statement of professional standing na di chidi gudi khonju khan ta do na inji minji like employer di direct OCT Ontario College of Teacher la kran to direct mail tangsha so the third person through tana ya khonju accept chin do ngado ina thangpunye ni the third person through kronju lapta lane che ani ngara like nangmi la tang da lodi gudi kunju accept chima sinji binji kronju lapta kron his employee kron ni inji binji tang relis and then teaching certificate again same as bachelor of education the certification the samagosha and then language proficiency ta ngaju kya la lopchong chi di gudi English language the Canadian equivalent to real and yora on the ki do yang so language proficiency report chitosh ta ngaru ina they can tell thangoli ti gudi international student and leti gudi the IELTS academic tamura so IELTS academic the longi validity di gudi ta nga de la 2023 leti gudi 2023 December la application start di gudi ni ji IELTS report the still validity with you consigi as academic report the IELTS layer again two category you general the academic so consigi academic jimji academic or this general the accepting marisa so IELTS academic reports in gi submit ba tum ta ko kran so diksha ra and then next last the sexual abuse prevention program chusha ta the sexual abuse prevention program the again short course chusha on the course the online free risha and OCT Quran give provide chido that this sexual abuse prevention program the inji michi ya 80% launch so consult assessment last at the end the assessment to the assessment the 80% launch 80% malona ya again repeat chu course yora so until 80% malay but you ni consult ya requirement chik chang do la yora that so basic requirement to risha OCT license la apply chela so application process so in thangpura online account OCT website now do share Ontario College of Teacher website now do any application online account create share first step and account create system chila any application pura fill up chi now application fill up chi di information is ngin pura 30 chini shana yakut So as I said, basic requirements sangma inji gorsha. This mena ya lega thebe do chawdwa. Mondi din sangma nyen thadi chise and ming du especially like ngazu do ina gyagani ledi gudu ming given name mashi surname ledi gudu kunzu ya application submission chidi gudu ya inji given name the surname niga gosh ta wondi ya nyora chawdu chawdu ya ngado weni gi given name the surname niga medi gudu gi Tenzin and given name Shah, surname Setin and Shadi with you passport nala proof of identity provide to the passport nala Ming Shabai with this Nyora Chaudra. So Muntiki Ming application to do the Ming the given name Kansa Tenzin Setin and surname the Kesimena dot and shash the Mondo Ngarado the Ditundarian this process this delay chasa Kajana Ming not into the again this Nyora Shesra. And then application fee to pay chushara and then application fee to pay chushara application fee the kumugada objects has to jusha on the pay chushara and then once account create chisa application submit chisana ani transcript in sama anga go jush ta ngara to indi gudi adela international student lead gudi ni lopchong gyagal lopchong chigyo changma west verification chisha ba world education service which is like Canadian degree da ni ji I mean gyagani lopchong chigyo changma equivalent swesara ni swesara di ngara this legal level do just direct west lokonsula email da cha west ki OCT la ni ji transcript changma ta ta thingsan do ina ju khachi na west accept ching do OCT gi yora west accept machi de khachi la na ju gyagala da kran ju lopchong khwa chin university khwan lopchong chin ni kunju la request chi che kunju gi OCT la direct official transcript in sama tawush on the process chigushra and then provide proof of identity so proof of identity ngi gi ta ngara gyagaji ICD provide chimba and then kunju gi next step the criminal record the vulnerable sector check niga chigusha and then modi chisan jelani dawa manguchi wait chin de sta ngaro wenda dawa ngas tuk stoji waiting to wait chin de ba kunju evaluation report di raji dawa ngas jelani ngara ngi 진짜 이동이 사슴 진짜 중니스 라 application start chimba ni ngara application the evaluation report di chinanga was to chigras so do dawanga took to chigresha again dawanga took ngeji dawanga took had the kinse kanane ngeji ming di ge nyora ki mal nyora chadi gudu ya modi ge this delay do chasra shemena ya delay yoga ge sir. Okay, so conclusion de la ngozu kisi gyagani lopchong chigyo ina tel lena gigin chaji main lake chik khechishu di khanna OCT certification dirish OCT certification di yuna ani gyala an de la lega cha di pemse yele lhoshu one of the requirement main di OCT license dirish de lapta khoine private genere public school do ni re OCT license di khechimbu rishra 아니 OCT license di ya tuje 골고 다 안다 로시나 tuje 요 망보 보고 있어 가지나 그저 에스로도 제디고 tuje 망보 보고 있어 tuje maybe 미카시 동아로 있는 다왕가스코스 이미 미카시 다와게 로치 롱니 엔테고닝기도 tuje 골고도 but then at the end it's all worth it lasha 내가 가지고 되는 수수 패션 한 내가 지디고 기블레 거라 만다 이디고 야 먼저 레샤 아니 야 드랑 레사 니지 presentation 디 갸가니 키시 롭종 체나 데라 기긴 체나 기긴 치 마도에 마샤 모조 갸가니 롭종 비에 칭이 망고 쉬어나라 모싱어게 망고 하고 요라 but then kunzuya career change the nursing the career the best option to the with chidi gudiya 기긴 디 용마레 세나샤 온디 마샤 기긴 치나 치트웨 두스 데라 and 기긴 치네 내가 빼면서 야보스도 내가 레터 내가 수수 되버 여기 이디 수수 세바기 키우 오늘자 스테이션아
그때나 아니 디콜 좋아도 용해요 저랑 자간 소중히 오시다 제샤 직제 니야 자간이 따뜻도 샵시 드니페야고 낭샤 대이 냠용단 되게 참마이 다들 내가 라야들 펜토요 지레 삼도 대지고 마제 다들레네 니도 니사송레레 다 간추들레 줄레낭 요레 로니 커미트먼트 체니 치초레 안자 샵시 그래 the cutting cheshua chik the chon lega raya de le lo kan chas lan de shi chik jan dile
Okay, yeah. The nga do ina like the lega ready conditions la nga thangbo de la kana jan de du ani the nangmi da changmai nurse chi la du other school la yo la straya so to nga interest the mera nurse shell interest mera but then nangmi gi la du ta other school le ba nga other barnum top other school ya on de la do ra on de du ni nga zu barnum top other school la ga gi mangbu like yaga ni lobjong chini wa ani dele che yaga I mean lega chigyo do yora mangbo shush do mangbo yudi go de kuran zo le gech timba de lega ra le ho ra kajin ni ko gyo la mit zi khalo de gi lega da ra yo mare khapu yo mare do le do ra but then kunzu la na de lega ra yo le ho ri kha thamni OCT di hinji minji ko hondi yona da lega ra ri la so ta hondi la di go de ngara OCT application process sama start chi do OCT application gi chinda chungi la start chira ine gi nga lapta di chinda chukchi chungi sto chi to ba and dije la gi lapta principal nim de dewachi ya lapta ngo zu pa da baran pro ji principal nim de koran dewachi ba koran la nga da OCT application di process kan yu nga gi gen che de bodu ni opening to your and gi ji team ba ko gi de source ta kisi process kan yu na nga pure higher che yo mares so OCT license di inji miji ko res mo di ra sai na nga im da yo meeting chi da ni koran gi ni gi di ro pa chi wo la sa ya and mo di through like on this thing ala lega anda ban top ada learning school la on this lega radio do ra now dil lega che ma sing ara nya shamba ge thapshi time ba ta Ontario nang lo ta ngi samsta lega ra khapu re sa ngi gi province shamba do ge yan try chi Yukon do the Nonaway do ta maybe like for 2 years yani do an experience le an teacher ya ma le ya lega china ya po re samsa an mo ti ngi Nonaway the Yukon ni apply chi ta this province in north side province for gigen so you need condition also like application kya the lamsa pura response ya po yeli and you higher che ge like so higher chi ma se benefits so like ta kizinga Ontario ni you gonna pay when no so ta sangma provide you the facilities sangma provide you so undi ge kisi te wala la mare na yini ya north side le longi de la chine ge 야 내가 opportunity 야고도 있을때 even they were in a gigan opportunity you 야고서 until recent like 갸가 롭종 친 갸간 롭종 치 갸가 게라 인제 망고 먼저 랍잘 요다 that means like about 저기 기시 갸간 BA 도 치는 델 치트에 리시라셔 치모테 한국지 마셔 가진 갸간 치도 나 저기 치트에 쉬어 want to research
맞아 투체나 any 당gal clarification 지도 당기 초기 데 transcription 데 that 망체 transcription 드니 제도아 transcription 자간 제주그러
ala west verification ding ara gyaga ne bien ko chin shine ba kajin nga gyaga lidi go di west verification chidi go ya ngazo university ni document sama west la tang hura mudu tang di go ni gyaga ni ngara gyaga le yesh di go ni len ha chi da ngara university do approach on the sama nyen ko ngara gyaga ne ko chin shine dele ne da chime
맞아 투체 그래서 배나 투체나 아니 티젠 다다 ngazo we have tenzin tilala ngazo ta bebanane air force na lega jige mamushida yujimare chon you are probably the only one right now who works in the air force
yeah in the air force maybe
yeah.
I know one other army
lana
yeah he's in Edmonton right now
okay
but yeah he's in the army as well so and there's a couple of people in the reservists
yeah reserve na army la khashiji phaje yujure na air force na lega jige ngazo beba shwenji nyungnyung injire so thank you so much for taking the time ani digital lagi presentation thing na
like this
I think yeah we can do you want to put on top or you want yeah it looks like now you're ready to fly
good afternoon everyone my name is Tenzin Tunle. I'll do a quick presentation on basically joining the CAF and kind of the basics on how you get in, what opportunities there are, etc. This is everything we'll discuss today. So basically the CAF, Canadian Armed Forces, is made up of 3 different branches: the Army, Navy, and the Air Force. And these are all the roles that the military is responsible for. So primarily, obviously, Defense of Canada first is the first role, and then the second, UN, NATO, NORAD, which is like North American Defense with the United States. Search and Rescue, which is a big, the military plays a big part in search and rescue all over Canada as well. And then aid to civil power, so any floods, any natural disasters that may happen, and then as well as aid to civil authorities. These are our commitments. I'll skip through stuff that, okay. So these are the types of employment in the CAF. There's the regular forces, which is what I'm in. There's primary reserve as a non-commissioned member. There is the regular forces full-time as a non-commissioned member, and then there's a primary reserve as a commissioned officer. So I'm in the regular forces full-time as the officer commissioned. So these are the differences between basically regular and primary reserve. So Reg Force, which is what I'm in, it's full salary, but you get the full benefits, everything. Your terms of service may vary. It depends on how long you sign your contract for. And obviously, big part of the military is you're required to move. So for myself, I've been moved a couple times from Toronto to Winnipeg and then back to Ottawa, which is where I currently work. And the length of your postings vary based on your role. The other part of the military, which is the primary reserve, that's the, I guess, more appealing portion. You're not required to move. You can sign up in Toronto and work locally. And there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of deployment opportunities as well. The other, it's not full-time, obviously, and the salaries slightly less than the full-time. So these are the different elements. So obviously, military is very broad in its employment. You don't have to necessarily commit to one of the 3 branches. You can be a purple trade, which is nursing. I know we have a lot of nurses in the audience today. If you're a nurse, you can work in Army, Air Force, or the Navy. It all depends on how you sign up. And then as for the structure, we have 2 streams essentially. We have the officer role, which is the managers, decision makers within the military, you make policies, and also the main requirement is that you require a university degree. And non-commissioned member is essentially what most people think of as like a traditional military. You know, if you think military, you think of an infantry, you think of a person with a gun. So most likely that's a non-commissioned member. They're the tradesperson, technicians, operators, and the main appeal is that you're not required to have a degree to join. You can join straight out of high school. So eligibility. So to see if you're eligible to join as an NCM or an officer, these are the following criteria. So one of the main criteria is that recently, before it used to be you had to be a Canadian citizen, but now recently with the new recruiting incentive, they've opened up the CAF to any permanent residents as well. So if you're a permanent resident, you can apply as well. So as for the officer, you require grade 12 as well as a bachelor or working towards a bachelor degrees. For a non-commissioned member, you must have basically grade 10 or 24 credits of service in Quebec, which is not where we are right now. So these are the entry plans for a non-commissioned member. There's the unskilled, semi-skilled, and skilled. I have a lot of brochures or like at least pamphlets over there that you can take after if you're interested. And these are the entry plans for officer, which is the direct entry officer, or the regular officer training plan, or the specialized education plans. So myself, I joined as a regular officer training plan in grade, out of high school. So after high school, I signed up for the military, and I did my bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering. at Ryerson University, and now it's called Toronto Metropolitan University. But the benefit of the ROTP program is that you will get your education paid for, you will get a salary while you're in school, and then after you graduate, you will have a guaranteed job with the military based on what you sign up for. So there's a lot of different recruitment programs or incentives. This is the Naval Experience Program. I'm not in the Navy, so I'm not highly experienced, or at least know what they do. But this is a great program because this is a one-year program for people to experience what the Navy is before committing to a longer contract. So you can kind of join, see what it is for 1 year long. You get paid, everything that comes with it. You complete your basic training, but then after that 1 year, you can choose whether you stay or go. Conditions program as well. So for an officer, if you want to apply with a direct entry officer role, that means you need a university degree. Basically, you can join and you'll most likely get sent off to do basic training right away. And then afterwards, you'll sign about a 3 to 4 year contract, but that doesn't mean you're necessarily locked into that contract. The contract means that they will guarantee you employment, but if you choose to leave, obviously as a DEO, you have the right to leave. As a ROTP, because they pay for your education and they subsidize you, you're required to complete an obligatory service. So for myself, I had to basically complete 5 years of service, which is already done. But that's a trade-off you need. This is the NCM. All right, so how do you apply and what does the application process look like? So the first thing, you can either walk into your local recruiting office, which the closest one that I know is the one on Yonge and Shepherd. You can submit your application online or visit them in person to get it started. After that, before it used to be called the CFAT, it used to be called the aptitude test, but now it's called a CF, which is the scored employment application form. It's basically conducted online, and they'll basically evaluate your performance and see if you're eligible for whatever role that you signed up for. And afterwards, if you pass that stage, you'll get medically examined, and then finally you'll get an interview with the recruiting officer or whoever is in charge. And if you make it past that, you'll get a reliability screening, which is basically a security screening to make sure that there's no risk at hiring you. And afterwards, you'll get enrolled, and then based on the timeline, you'll either go to basic training right away, or you might do on-the-job training locally until you go for basic training. So first things, after enrollment, you go to your basic training, which is 9 to 12 weeks. For officers, it's 12 weeks in Saint Jean. For NCM, it's 9 weeks in Saint Jean. Once you graduate basic training, you'll go to your trade and you'll complete your trade training. It'll get posted to your unit based on your posting preferences, and then you basically do on-the-job training and any additional qualifications that you may need. So what can you expect on basic training? So for non-commissioned members, it's 9 weeks long, and for officers, it's 12 weeks, 3 extra weeks to basically teach you kind of leadership and how to lead the troops. Where it happens, it depends on whether you join full-time or if you join as a reservist. If you do a reservist, you'll maybe conduct it locally at the whatever reserve unit that you joined out of. But if you do full-time, you'll most likely go to Saint Jean, which is in Quebec, about, I would say about 6 hours from here. And then what you'll learn is basically classes, practical sessions on a variety of military subjects, physical fitness, dress and deportment, etc. So do you have to be athletic to be in the forces? I would say anyone can do it if you train for it. Obviously, you can't be super out of shape, but I think as long as you commit to some sort of fitness day to day, you'll be able to pass the basic military training. So why choose a career in CAF? So there's benefits and the community. So main thing, benefits, it has a very competitive pay scale. We recently got a large raise for everyone in the military, I think about almost half a year ago. Medical, dental, and vision. So obviously all your anything medical, dental is covered fully. Vacation, you start off with 20 annual leave days, basically 20 days paid pretty much. And then after a couple of years of service, I think 6 years or 7 years, you get 25 days. They have a very accommodating mat and paddle leave. Basically, if you're intending to start a family, you get almost 8 to 12 months off, guaranteed, and at no risk to your job. And then obviously retirement, which is one of the biggest worry that a lot of people have. As a career in a CAF, you'll contribute to your pension. So after 20 years or 25 years of service in the military, you'll get a very competitive pension at the end of it. And then community as well. Military is one big community, it's one big team, everyone's together. So when you get posted to wherever you are, you'll become a part of that local family there. So pay and benefits, this is available online if you're interested, but officer cadet. So if you're interested in joining as a regular officer training plan, as an officer cadet, you could be making between $2,500 to $4,478 a month while getting paid to go to school and getting your education paid for. So I think this is very appealing for a lot of people here. As a non-commissioned member, starting salary from your first rank is $36.40 a month. And then yes, medical, all the pay and benefits, as well as retirement. Should I run a second PowerPoint?
Yeah,
Do you have any questions for this one first?
yeah, I think maybe we'll go for questions. Tiwayona, any questions for Tenzatile? First part? Yes.
As a parent, I want to say I'm so proud of you being a fatherless son, and admire and very proud of you. It's fascinating that there is a way you can serve in military at the same time you get your education done and paid for it, and at the end of the 4 or 5 years there's no OSAP loan, you know what I mean? What other better way than this, right? The path that you have chosen. And thank you for coming to show the path to our younger generation, right? And let's say, for example, a student right now who is going through grade 12. And if they're looking into, okay, what's next, right? Would you suggest to go to that officer cadet thing, or which could be better you would advise them to move forward?
To anyone out there, I would advise, obviously I'm biased because I'm an officer, but I think stereotypically, as Asian, all our parents want their kids to get a university degree, so officer would be my default route. But a lot of people out there are not, maybe they're not interested in secondary education, right? So they can go straight into the non-commissioned member. However, I see the officer route being a much better option because you can get your education paid for, you can get a degree that you're interested in and relevant to the outside world, because obviously the military is a bubble where we exist inside of it, so all the jobs may not be relevant to the civilian world, right? So if you choose not to stay in the military past your contract date, you have a relevant degree that you can leave with. So for myself, I did aerospace engineering, right? So if I choose to leave, I can pursue a career in engineering after. But if I went the NCM route, I would not have been able to get that degree, basically any kind of things that I can use outside the military. So I think, yeah, as a parent, like for a grade 12 student currently, I would definitely recommend him to pursue secondary education through this route because it relieves the stress of having to pay for your OSAP, pay for your loans, as well as you're still getting paid while in school. So while you're going to classes, you'll get basically about $2,000, $3,000 a month to help you cover for anything else or help you save up, right? Because those 4 years in school can be a very good time for you to save up. And then as soon as you graduate, you can basically, wherever you get moved to, maybe purchase a house there, etc. Stuff like that, yeah.
Yeah. So, officer cadet, right?
Mhm.
Also, you can study for nursing, being an officer cadet.
Yeah. So officer cadet is a rank that you get when you join as an officer, but you are not commissioned. When you graduate your university degree and you have that bachelor's degree, then you get a commission from the. When I graduated, it was from the Queen of UK, now Queen Elizabeth. But now you'll get a commission from the King Charles. So while you're in school, you're an officer cadet, but as soon as you graduate, you become a second lieutenant. So yeah, that's. I think that did I answer your question?
Yes, yes. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Thank you. Second.
Sorry, I came in late, so I'm not sure if this was mentioned, but if you go into the purple trades, is there like a mandatory service you have to complete afterwards?
So it depends, it all depends on the route you choose to get in. Purple trade doesn't mean much, it just means that you can belong to any of the three. You can wear an Air Force uniform and work with Army. That's just what purple trades means. Purple trades are for trades that don't clearly belong to one, like a pilot, Air Force, right? Like infantry, Army, you know that. But a nurse, you can work with any of the three, right? Or a doctor, you can work with any of the three.
Okay, so let's say you go into nursing.
Yeah.
Then, like, is there like a specific mandatory service, like over years?
So if you haven't started nursing school and you want to go through nursing school and you want to get paid for it, so you want them to pay for it, you would go through the regular officer training plan. So what you would require is first you need to get into the nursing school. You need a proof of admission. Then you go join, and then once you get accepted and they see that you're accepted into the school and intend to go to that school, they'll subsidize your education, you'll pay for it, or they'll give you an advance, and they'll basically pay for it every year. But in return, you have to give 2 months of service for every 1 month of paid education. And the caveat is that while you're in school and while you're working in the summer, because your nursing school may be 4 years long, right? So in the summers, they'll send you to do on-the-job training. So if you're a nurse, they'll probably send you to the local hospital unit or wherever it is to get relevant experience, and those months count as service paid back. So after 4 years of service, you might come out and you might need to serve 5 years or whatever in the military after graduating, but it could be cut down to 3 years because you've worked all those summers. But if you choose to do nursing school without getting it paid for, so you would just complete it on your own, or you already have a nursing degree or whatever it is, then you can join by the direct entry officer plan, which means you basically already qualified, and now you're going straight to the military and you have a job with them.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're a student, like a high school student, or okay, yeah.
Vijayanand.
Thank you. Anybody have more questions? I think we can move on to the next. Thank you.
I've already talked about the basics in the military. I'll give a little more specific information on what I do specifically in the military. So I'm part of 414 Electronic Warfare Support Squadron, and we're based out of Ottawa. So this is the history. I'm not going to bore you with the history of our squadron, but basically the mission of our squadron is two levels. One is a reprogramming flight, and one is a threat replication flight. So a reprogramming flight is responsible for programming, testing, and validating defensive electronic warfare equipment used by any aircraft in the military, and as well as providing mission data rapidly during training or deployed operations. And I'm part of the threat replication flight. So we provide a live fly EW training to anyone that basically demands it. So the fighter force, the Army, or the Navy, by replicating airborne electronic warfare threats. This is the organization. So reprogramming, their core tasks are as follows: reprogramming the EW systems, support operations, test and evaluation, and any additional tasks such as electronic warfare engineering support. So if you're an engineer, specifically aerospace engineering, you can be a reprogramming flight engineer. So these are all the systems. I won't go too in detail about it because it's just a lot of words to everyone here. But yeah, these are all the supported fleets by the reprogramming fleet. All the support that we do locally as well as deployed. And internal force generation, which is basically churning out more engineers. Threat replication flight, this is the flight that I'm a part of and my main role. So the core task, we provide live fly EW support to the Army, Navy, and the Air Force. The other task is to create new EWOs like myself. So live fly EW, these are the two aircrafts that we mainly fly on, the Alpha Jet and the Learjet. We equip these aircrafts with these words below. Basically, these are all different types of pods that have different functions. So the A100 is a jamming pod. The 502 is a threat emission simulator. Basically, it can mimic different types of radio signals and RF emissions. The chaff pod is basically a pod that can disperse chaff. And then lastly, the jammer, which is a different type thing. So the main mission types for the Air Force, we provide a lot of red air representation, meaning basically whenever you think of the good guys, they always need a bad guy to fly against and fight against and train against, and that's us. We're the bad guys. We will study enemy tactics and replicate what they will do against our own fighter pilots, so they'll be more prepared in the future encounter. So air interdiction, NORAD support. If there's we can also do a lot of Navy stuff. Basically, we'll simulate a lot of attacks on Navy ships, and then even test out the radar systems. For the Army, our role is not as big as it used to be before, but we will also do jamming on the land-based radars. So although we're based out of Ottawa, we fly in a lot of different parts of Canada. So the four most common parts of Canada that we fly out of is Victoria on the west coast, Halifax on the east coast, Cold Lake, which is right near Edmonton in Alberta, and Bagotville, which is near Quebec City. And then also we do a lot of deploy taskings in the US and a lot of training there during the winters, because obviously in Canada it's hard to fly in winter here. So we'll go down to where the weather's great. I'm actually going down to Florida in 2 weeks to do training there as well. So this is the personnel, not important. So how long did it take to become, or basically get to the position that I am today? So obviously I did my university degree, I did 4 years in Ryerson University. After graduating that, COVID hit, but that happens for everyone, so everything got delayed. But I stayed in Toronto for 1.5 years. And then I went to Winnipeg and I did my course there, which is a 1-year-long AXO wings course. It's pretty competitive and had a pretty high failure rate. And then after that, you will basically give your preference as to where you want to go. So there's a lot of different roles that you can do after becoming an AXO. You can specialize in different things, so long-range patrol, electronic warfare, or you can be a search and rescue AXO. So I chose the electronic warfare officer role. because mainly for me, it was close to home in Toronto. All my family's in Toronto, so I chose to get to the closest major city possible, which is Ottawa. I could have been a search and rescue in Trenton, but I think I didn't really want to live in Trenton. I like the city better. And then once I got to Ottawa, I did basically 8 weeks of ground school and then 12 instructional flights, after which you get qualified as a line Eagle, and you're basically qualified to fly. We fly in the backseat of the Alpha Jet with a qualified pilot up top. So it's a team, and we're always working together. Let's see, so future. Okay, yeah, that's it. Any questions regarding that?
Any questions? I have a question.
Yeah.
So, how did you choose? Like, what made you choose to go into Air Force or Army at the first place?
Yeah, so I'll give credit to my father because he was the one who suggested it. He's like, hey, did you know that the military pay for your education? And I was like, oh, really? I was like, okay, let me look into it. So that's one way I became interested in it. Secondly, out of high school, I 100% didn't know what I was going to do. So I kind of chose the most stereotypical thing. I was like, okay, let me just do an engineering degree in something because I like math, or I don't like math. I'm good at math, whatever.
Yeah.
So I picked an engineering degree that sounded interesting to me. So aerospace sounded cool because of space. I was like, all right, let me do it. And then afterwards, I was like, realistically thinking about what I will be doing after that degree. So then I saw the military as an option to basically kind of explore different options. Just it's something that's not very traditional, but also very stable in terms of job stability, income, everything is guaranteed. But you still get that adventure afterwards. You know what I mean? So I still got to see a lot of different parts of Canada, but at the end of the day, I still know my job is stable, right? I think that's the main big factor for me.
What would you say? Like I know like nga zu pepa nang la mangbu pama mangbu jik like mangmi na ru de shena chao yore the kale yore dangerous yore like there's many
Yeah.
maybe there's parents worry about the risk and safety. Pu tunji doing la na or tela mado like you are go something do like accountant or nursing. What would you say to those parents?
I understand the concerns because my parents are also still feeling the same way. They still get scared that I'm flying. They still get scared when I send them pictures and videos of what I'm doing. I don't know how to relieve that stress, but I do know that there's a lot of jobs in the military that are not dangerous, right? So nursing, they're not going to send you to the front line. Dentist, you're not going to be out in the war zone, right? But obviously, if you choose to go in the more dangerous roles, like traditionally and stereotypically army, if you go to infantry, it's dangerous, right? It's going to be dangerous. If you choose to go as a artillery officer, you are. But if you choose to go into the military as, let's say, a logistics officer, it's essentially a desk job. Like you'll do a lot of
Administrative work.
administrative work and stuff like that. So there's a lot of jobs in the military that are not traditionally dangerous.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, because military is military, you accept the risk that you sign up for, and that's a trade-off, I guess.
Yeah. I think the key message is that there's a lot of other roles and jobs in the military that is not risky and dangerous, and I would encourage people to explore that. One other question that I have for you is you talk about the non-commissional, like if somebody from grade 12 choose to like, okay, I don't want a degree right now, I'm not ready. Let me go into the non-commissional site. And then can they decide in about a year if they feel like, okay, like I like this field, I want to get a degree and go become officer. Can they just still switch?
Yeah, there's different programs. So continuing education officer training plan. There is the NCM2 officer training plan, and also these are training plans that are subsidized by the military. You can also choose to do it on your own. and then the mission afterwards, right?
Okay.
But yeah, I think if you want to go the NCM route and you want to experience what the military has to offer, primary reserve is a very good option because you can join, you can stay local, stay close to family, see what the military is all about, and then afterwards choose whether you want to stay, be full time, or study and get your secondary degree and then become an officer after that as well.
Okay. Amazing. Thank you so much. Oh, there's a more question. Of course.
If you do like your ground school program and get your glider's license within the cadets program,
Yeah.
is it still valid once you join like the CAF?
Yes, but depends on what you want to do with it.
Okay.
What would you like to do with? Because if you were say interested in pilot, right? You don't necessarily need anything to join because they'll teach you everything from the basics. So a lot of people feel like they must do their PPL or CPL and then join the military because they'll get a leg up. But being a pilot in the military is like totally different to what you learn traditionally. So although you'll still have it, you'll still be certified to do that, right? But it's not necessary, I say.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Gentlemen, thank you so much. I echo Sonam's sentiment. I'm so proud. Pagola has such handsome and young and productive son. So thank you for taking the time coming here. So for our next segment, that the journey you are.
You want to show it now?
Oh, video like
sure.
yeah. Video test right? And then so then to panel discussion round fire chat and the subject have then Q and chat.
Okay. So maybe people have watched videos like this online.
This is not going.
It'll look funny.
I'm joking.
Yeah. So this is the centrifuge training that we did. This is basically to train your body to to get used to the forces that you'll feel in the jet. So pretend like you're riding a roller coaster. When you do that sudden turn, you know the feeling that you get in your body. Well, this is doing that for a consistent, maybe like 1 minute or whatever. So this is me. So it looks like I'm just straining for no reason, right? But I promise you there's a reason why. And it's not in here, so I can't tell you why. Yeah, basically what you're in is you're in like a enclosed container, but it's spinning at a very high rate. So it basically simulates like a high G turn, that you're turning continuously. So the main reason we do this training is that when you're doing this movement, there's a lot of G-force that's acting from top down, right? So the most important part of our body that we want to keep blood in is our brain. If blood drains from our brain, you're gonna knock out. So what this training does is you strain your entire body so that the blood stays in your brain and you're conscious.
The camera is in the front of you, right? You're spinning.
Yeah, you're spinning. I had a video of it, but I guess I forgot to upload it. What else? And then this is just videos that I record basically for fun when we're about to land. Yeah, so this is basically this is the best part of my job. This is my view, like day to day, right? So I always get to see this kind of stuff. This is what I'm most glad that I joined the Air Force for. This specific video was recorded when we were doing, it's called intercept training. So we are, we pretend to be like a Russian bomber, right? So we'll fly a profile, and our military, our coordinator will come and intercept us, try to communicate with us, and then if nothing happens, they'll try to get your attention. And then lastly, obviously they'll shoot you down, but not really shoot you down. But so in this, you can see the aircraft is trying to get our attention by waving, rocking its wings, and we just ignore it. And afterwards, in the last-ditch effort to get our attention, they'll deploy chaffs and flares in front of our aircraft, which are like these large, fiery things. And then flew away. I think that's all the video.